Diamond is one of the most difficult ranks to get out of in Rocket League, but in today's video we'll be helping you do just that as we take a deep dive into some Diamond gameplay to see what skills you need to make your way up to Champ. And real quick before we do get started, if any of you are interested in having one of your own replays analyzed, make sure you do check out my Discord, which will be linked down in the description, as I do offer free coaching through there. And then we're going to have another moment where we're slow here, and this one is going to result in a goal because we just don't get up in time. And this is a goal that should never be scored, ever. Like, this is not a goal that we should be conceding. And the reason we concede this is because it seems like you're just not comfortable playing the backboard. Because, like, you're in a fine spot here. The second this happens, looking at the positioning of the opponents, this guy's out of the play. He's going for the mid boost, so we don't care about that. This guy is still in the air, not landed yet, so they can't go for the ball immediately. But instead of you just having confidence to either jump right now or drive up the wall to gain yourself height and then jump out, you just kind of sit here because you don't think you have the boost to get up to this ball, and I'm willing to bet that you don't trust yourself to drive up the backboard, and you just don't trust yourself to be able to make that touch. So you want to be careful of stuff like this, because again, you even get punished for this in Diamond, but at a higher rank, this is never gonna fly. If you make plays like this, you're gonna get scored on every single time. So you need to have confidence in your ability to go get this touch. Personally, going up the wall is the better play because it's a way to gain height without having to use as much boost. And if you go up the wall and then jump out, you can very easily clear this ball at least down the side wall while your teammate recovers back, and then you guys would be totally fine. But instead, you hesitate, you just kind of sit here and wait because you're uncomfortable with it, and then by the time you realize, oh crap, I need to jump, you're flat out beat. So, like, at a certain point, once you see this opponent jump up into the air, it's no longer worth it. The second he's up in the air like this, you shouldn't be jumping. Because if you just wait, the other thing we know at this point is that this guy cannot get a powerful shot. Not from where he is, it's just not going to work. So if you just like back up into net a little bit and wait for whatever touch he's going to get, you have a very easy save here. So you either need to go early or you need to just wait. You cannot do this like middle ground thing where you do neither of these options because you're kind of getting yourself stuck in no man's land here, and it's what's leading to this goal being scored very, very easily for your opponents. This is fine, free ball. This is a good play back to the corner. But then again, we just go too slow here. Like, you have a good play back to the corner. Yes, you have zero boost. At this exact moment, you need to still be flipping. Like, you should immediately be flipping towards that corner boost because you know you have this guy behind you. If you just drive normally, they're going to come bump you. There's no way they're going to allow you to just have this boost for free and take the ball up the wall with all this space. It's just not going to happen. So you need to recognize that that threat is there, and you need to get away from it as quickly as possible and get yourself the resources that you need to be able to stay away from it. But again, you're kind of not really necessarily thinking about everything that could be going on. Your brain's kind of just like, okay, I'll just go get the boost, it's fine. And you're not even considering what that opponent is doing. And that's kind of the big shift that happens at certain points when you reach higher ranks. Is at the lower ranks, it's all about what am I going to do on the field, and you don't really have to worry about anybody else because they also are not really able to execute on the plans that they might have. But as you reach these higher ranks and as you're trying to push into that champ GC area, it becomes a lot more about understanding what your opponents are trying to do and making sure that what you do on the field is a good option to counter what they are trying to do. Because if you're just like driving around without any thought as to what else is going on and you're just thinking, how am I going to play this ball? You leave yourself vulnerable for situations like this where you just very easily get taken off the field because you're not thinking about the fact that you might be getting just absolutely demoed out of the play. And it just comes as a bit of a surprise to you, I believe, in that situation. And then you just miss the ball. I mean, so both goals so far, I think we can agree, have purely been your fault. Because this is another one where we just don't jump properly at the ball. I agree, jumping here is the right idea. But the ball is slightly to your right, and you're jumping angled this way. Which means that your momentum is just carrying you away from the ball, and you're just giving it up for free. So the important thing with these is just not to panic. Yes, you need to go fast. Yes, you want to attack the ball as quickly as possible here, but make sure you line yourself up first. Because if you don't line yourself up, you're just setting yourself up for failure. At very worst, even if you take like an extra split second to line yourself up, if you are in line with this ball, even if you're beat by a little bit, it's going to be a lot harder for this guy to get the ball around you because you're going to be on a good line already in the direction of the ball. Because you jump facing this way, now this guy is able to get the ball past you because you're not covering the angle that you really should be, and you leave it kind of vulnerable for them to be able to just tap the ball right past you as they do here, and then it's just a wide open net. Because you're going back without any other thought, ideally what we want to do here, right, is because you're committed to going this way, there's nothing that can change with this ball, it's going to keep going in this direction. It is okay for us to initiate a flip to try to preserve a bit of our boost. If you just use boost all the way back, you're going to be a lot lower, as opposed to if you use a flip to attempt to gain speed. So be aware of that. We don't often want to use flips if a touch is going to be coming out, but if the ball is very clearly going in one specific direction, that is when we want to use our flips to be able to stay with it. Then right around now, ball cam should be coming off so that we can have an understanding of where all the other players are, and we can effectively decide what we want to do with this ball based on that information. But instead, you keep ball cam on and you just kind of make an assumption that someone's going to be here, and because of that, you just hit the ball away from yourself and give up full possession for really no reason. Okay, so this is one that I'm willing to bet you might think is your teammate's fault. And granted, I agree, this is not the best touch from him to be sure. But at the same time, you again get yourself caught in this no man's land area. You don't defend the net, you also don't challenge the ball, you pretty much do nothing in this play. And again, this is all about very fast recognition. The second we see this touch, we have to very quickly make the decision. Are we able to get into to challenge this play, or do we have to wait? There is no option to play this middle ground, because if we do neither, we just give them a free opportunity to shoot on an open net, which is exactly what happens. So in this play here, I believe that if you go fast enough, you can get the challenge. But the second you see Fazzy turn towards the ball right here, you need to turn around. The second you see him here, you no longer win this. You're too slow, you're not boosting, you're not actually going towards the ball fast at all. Turn around. Because more than likely, this guy is not going to gain control. He's just going to hit the ball forward. And even if he does take control, right? Even if he does start a dribble, we at least give ourselves a chance because we're still between the ball and our net. But if we commit into no man's land and just allow him to pop the ball over the top of us, we haven't forced him to really outplay us. We've just allowed him to shoot on an open net. So be aware of that. Don't give them easy opportunities like this, where they would just have to jump and tap the ball forward and they get a free goal for it. Oh boy. Okay, tripping up with our teammate here. How do we work this one out? Okay, we do get out of it, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, with these, very important to understand where your teammate is going and where our best position is. So ideally on these plays, I always say take pads first. If the situation in the play changes, then go look for the big boost. So what we see here is our teammate is floating in the air on 0 boost. At this exact moment, I don't know if he is going to try to stay on this ball or if he is going to go for this mid boost. Because of that, I don't want to make any move that's going to impact what he is able to do, because currently he can't see me. He has no idea where we are, so he can't make decisions based off what we do, but we can 100% make decisions based off of what he does. So instead of beelining directly to that mid boost, I'm just going to keep carrying on and grab this pad and this pad and start to go this way, because then if he stays on the ball, we can, realistically, we don't even need the full boost. We can just turn back into the midfield and be available for him. If he turns off the ball, we can just carry our momentum forward and challenge the ball ourselves. But realistically, either way, we don't even really need this. We can definitely play off these small pads and be perfectly happy, and then redirect our course based on where our teammate decides to go. Because if we were, in this area right here, then when he makes this turn off, we can just carry our momentum forward. He would have the mid boost for free and would be able to turn and support us, and we would probably be able to maintain an offensive attack here. But instead, we got confused because we both go to the mid boost, and now they get a free clear. Granted, they don't do anything with it, but definitely not the spot you really want to be putting yourself in. Oh dear. Yeah, so here's one of the big mistouches that I was talking about, or in this case, just a touch that we miss entirely. And this is just panic. Like, this is just complete and unnecessary panic. So this ball is rolling at you. This thing is not dangerous. Like, we don't need to rush this. We don't need to try to bang it back into their half, because realistically, if we just hit it away from ourselves, we're probably just giving up control to this guy who's going to turn back into that corner and take whatever ball bounces, you know, off this wall. This ball is not on target, and if you don't know that, there's a very easy way, particularly on man field and some other fields as well, that we can already know that this ball is not going to be on target, and you're actually sitting right on top of it. It's this dashed line right here that lines up with your post. So as you can see, this ball is kind of rolling like this, which means it's going to get it's going all the way to the corner, it looks like is where it's going. So you don't need to rush this. You don't need to try to get this touch at the first possible moment. This is a very tough skill to learn, and one that I've found that a lot of players, particularly at the Diamond and Champ rank, struggle with, is players want to be able to get a touch as soon as possible. Like, the very first touch they can take, they want to take it, because they think if they work the ball quickly that they're going to be able to put the opponents in a bad spot. The problem with this line of thinking is that the very first touch you're able to get is more than often going to be subpar. And you can see here that if you do get this touch, all you're going to be doing is hitting it this way, which doesn't do a whole lot for your team. Instead, you could totally just turn around this way, let the ball roll past you, go into your own corner, pick up control of the ball, and then play back out. And you'd probably have to beat this guy who'd probably be like turning and challenging you. This guy's slow coming back. If you get around this guy, your teammate could go bump this guy, and now you might just have an open net. But at least throughout this, you'd be the one in control of the ball, and you wouldn't just be hitting it away from yourself as hard as possible into a spot that doesn't really benefit your team. Because this does nothing. You would have had complete and free control in that corner, but now instead you have to play defense because you just tried to do too much and hit the ball too quickly when you didn't have to. This one feels like an overcommit. Yeah. So you do a nice job cutting it around this guy. Again, ball cam has to come off here. And the reason we want ball cam to come off here is because we need to know when exactly we're being challenged. Because if we can see the challenge coming, we can more effectively play the ball around them. If we don't see the challenge coming, we're just going to try to jump and hope to get a decent block at the time we finally see them come onto our screen. But that doesn't give us the ability to play this ball as successfully as we'd like. Because if we had been able to see him coming this whole time, we already could be jumping up and tapping this further down the wall as he's still like in this area here. And then we'd be able to land on the wall and continue possession into the corner. As opposed to being in this 50-50 because we didn't know when exactly this challenge was going to be coming in. And now because we waited so long to actually jump and play that ball, we've now given them a free 50 win. Now our teammates in a 2v1 situation. Luckily, again, they don't do anything with it, but not the spot you want to be leaving your teammate in. Then we just have some rushing here. I think we're getting to this moment in the game, and I see this a lot, where we're getting the clock starting to count down, so we're starting to get a little bit antsy about trying to create offensive chances, and we just start to rush things. Again, this is very important. You need to start understanding how to look at your opponents, because right here, there's not really much you can do with this ball, because if you just hit it away from yourself, it's just going to go right to them. There's nothing that getting a powerful touch here is going to do. But if you watch them, Goat has just turned away. He's gone. He's turning away from the play. This guy is still miles away. You do not need to force an unnecessary touch like this where you just hit the ball away from yourself. There's nothing wrong with just staying on the wall here and just tracking where the ball is going and staying with it. And then waiting for them to try to commit towards you, and when you see that, you can either go for the outplay or take the 50, whatever is best in the situation that you find yourself in. But if you do this, you take away all control from yourself and just hand that control right back to your opponents, and it leads to, again, them being able to have a free transition down the field, and then we get scored on. So real quick, just talking about this, because this might be another one where you think your teammate has made some kind of mistake, but realistically, you leave him in a terrible spot. And the reason it's a terrible spot is because of right there. This turn back towards the ball ruins your teammate. And I say that because I watched this from his perspective, and I want you to watch this from his perspective as well. So, he's waiting back, he's seeing what's happening, He sees you all the way out here. He sees the ball right here. So his mind is saying, okay, teammate clearly gonna be coming back here. I don't see a world where my teammate turns in this position because his car, as you can see, your own car language at this point, is just pointed back that way. So there is no indication to him that you're about to try to turn. And because of that, his focus kind of leaves you and focuses on this. Because in his mind, you're going to come back and play support. He is going to go forward and challenge. He is going to get the ball off of this guy, and then you're going to be able to turn for free and get whatever results comes out of this challenge. But instead, as he inches forward here, you now cut across. And now he realizes that you're cutting across and goes, oh crap. And now what happens is because you've cut back across, you have now put both yourself and your teammate in relatively the same spot. So now when you challenge, your teammate is so close to this play, having not expected you to cut like this, that when this guy beats you, he also beats your teammate. And there's just nothing your teammate can do because he didn't really see this coming. So try to avoid doing unexpected things like this. If you're in comms, this is fine, because you can tell your teammate what you're doing and they can react ahead of time. But in solo queue without comms, they don't know that you're going to do this, and they have no indication that you're going to do this until you make this split-second turn. So try to avoid doing this at the last second because it just makes life very difficult for your teammate. It's very hard for your teammate to read, and then because of that, they're very often not going to be able to get back into a good defensive position, because you can see this is not a great spot for them to be in. They're just in a world of trouble, and there's not a whole lot they can do here, but it's because you tried to cut into that play really aggressively in an unnecessary position. Again, hesitation here. Yeah, whoa, okay. So you just sat here and let them shoot. Like, you literally just sat here and let them shoot the ball. This bounce, go. You have to go. Like, this is a bounce that at a higher rank, you can't let it go. And even at this rank, you barely could because they almost put this ball on target. This is a bounce that you need to start to get comfortable going for. And if you miss it, so what? You're already down by 2 with 25 seconds left. If you miss it, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But the big thing is, if you don't start committing for bounces like this and you don't start to trust yourself on them, you're never going to learn how to read it. The reason you don't go here is because you're scared of missing this read. You're scared of giving up the goal. Which, if we're super worried about the result of this game, is a fair thought. However, I would argue that we shouldn't be worried about the results of this game, because realistically, who cares? In a year's time, you're going to not remember this game at all. You're going to have no idea what happened in this game. So with that in mind, don't be afraid to go for this, because in a year's time, if you've learned how to read this bounce because of so many attempts to go for a ball like this, that you've had a lot of trial and error, and you've been able to figure out exactly what you need to do to be able to read this ball, you will be a lot better off and probably a lot higher ranked and a lot higher skilled than you are now. So try to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Do not be afraid to jump for balls just because they're awkward. Make sure it's a good ball to commit for. Like, don't commit for something stupid because, you know, you just want to try to get a read. But if it's a ball that you clearly should be jumping for, like this one is, like if you don't jump for this, you're just allowing them to shoot the ball for free. If it's a good ball to jump for, be willing to challenge it. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. That's the best way to learn, is be willing to make mistakes. It's going to happen, but that is the only way that you're going to see constant improvement. Now, an interesting fact about this replay is that the Diamond player we were looking at actually wasn't too happy with the play of his teammates. Now, this is another common problem that a lot of players at Diamond face in thinking that their teammates are one of the things that are holding them back. But the real key to reaching the higher levels is to understand that you simply have no control over what your teammate is doing, and you just need to do the best you can to play around them. This is why it is incredibly important for you to build up the understanding of the game, so that regardless of what happens, you can put yourself in the best position you can in order to be successful. Of course, thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below, so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, once again, if you're interested in some one-on-one coaching of your own, or perhaps you just like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, make sure you do check out my Discord, which is again linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.